Stand by for a transmission from DX Central. This broadcast is not a test. To confirm reception, please tune your radio to any AM or FM frequency and report your observations during this transmission. Again, this is not a test. Stand by for a transmission from DX Central. This broadcast is not a test. To confirm reception, please tune your radio to any AM or FM frequency and report your observations during this transmission. Again, this is not a test.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News Member Bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. From the pages of its DX Monitor Member Bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AM/DX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AM/DXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the Gulf South
To your corner of the world.
this is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios. One more time for Season 4, my friends. Good evening. Lloyd Van Horn here with you from Mandeville, Louisiana, where we bring you live DX every Friday night at 6:45 Central. That's 23:45 UTC. We talk DX, we do DX, we pat each other on the back about DX. If you love DX, this is where you want to be on Friday nights, at least for now. And until tonight, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break for the summertime here for our live streams, but we'll be back in the fall. We've got so much to get to tonight, my friends. We are jam-packing this one in tonight. We've got a lot of topics on hand that I have written up on my little board over here, so I wouldn't forget anything. We've got our medium wave frequency challenge this week, week 18, to wrap up, 730 to 790. We have our, let's see, we have the season 3 wrap up of the frequency challenge, so the entire season. So once we get to the close of the season, which is going to be here at the top of this next hour, not this hour we're about to have, but the next hour. Once we get there, we'll close that season out. I'll tally up all the stuff, and we'll talk about the season as a whole. We have a new challenge to talk about that we're going to be doing this summer, a brand new challenge. So we're going to talk about that. We've got FM season has kicked off. You guys see that? Some e-skip happening last night. Yeah. Les, our friend Les over in Alabama. Some of the guys in Boot Crew North, Ethan, some of those guys up in Boot Crew North, up in Arkansas, they were seeing some e-skip. Some folks over on the coast were seeing some e-skip. So there was a little bit of cloud ionization going on yesterday here in the States, and there's been a couple openings already in Europe, so we're starting to see things kind of go. I know the Great Lakes Tropo machine has now started to rev up. Ours has been kind of quiet because we've been getting some passing fronts and showers and things like that, but we should be ramping back up here pretty soon here in the Gulf South. So FM season is starting to ramp up a little bit as we get into May now. Of course, AMDX season is not over. Just because we're ending our season of DX Central Live doesn't mean the DX season is over. Doesn't mean that the AM season itself is over, because it's not. We're just going to be taking a little break from our live streams. AMDX season continues on. Everyone does a little different. Mine is usually September 1st. That's the start of the new DX season. The old one ends August 31st. The new one starts September 1st. So that's where I draw my line, because it's nice and easy for me to kind of think about. So the upcoming challenge we'll be doing here, we're talking about in a bit, is going to be kind of along those lines for the summertime. So we'll be talking a bit about that. We, of course, have got your shout outs, and these are special shout outs to do tonight. These are not just your usual, what I've heard in the last week shout outs. We can do some of those if you want to. But this is more about celebrating the season, because I know quite a few of you, and myself, I feel like I'm in this as well, have had just a phenomenal AMDX season. And so we need to go back and remind ourselves just how great it's been. So I put the link in the chat a few moments ago. I'll do it again right now. Get your shout outs in. We want to know, tell me what you did this season so far. So again, I'm saying so far because the season's not over for DX. So far, let's talk about the accomplishments of what you've done this season. From September 1st, basically, till now on the AM side and FM side. Let's talk about the FM side too. I know some of you guys were still getting some of those Tropo openings in late fall last year. So don't forget about those. And we had some e-skip that happened in January here in the Gulf South. So we're going to talk about on mine, at least. We'll have those shout outs in there. So get your shout outs in. Got the shout out form in there. Again, these are season ending shout outs for the season of DX Central Live. Everything that you've accomplished so far in this DX season from September 1st to now. And we got more to talk about. We got some actual DX topics to talk about as well. Some folks talking about SDRs earlier in the chat. Some folks on social media talking about antennas, especially for those who are maybe challenged by being in an apartment or a condo or an HOA restriction, things like that, or maybe a significant other who doesn't like antennas being visible kind of thing outside. Whatever your situation might be, if you're looking for a stealthy and effective way to DX, whether that antenna is indoors or maybe even if you're able to get it outdoors, I've got an option for you. We're going to talk about that tonight. And I think, one of the things I do want to mention, though, is the Slack channel. So I've been slacking on the Slack channel the last several weeks. I've been meaning to bring this up. So we have, there is a app out there called Slack. I used to use this in my company I work for. They changed to a different one now. It's like Microsoft Teams if you've ever used Teams. And basically in that Slack channel, there are different rooms or channels within the Slack channel that are set up for AMDX. There's an FMDX, there's a TVDX, things like that. And basically it's kind of like a chat room, right? Where we all get together and we share what we're hearing. We talk about things that we're hearing in our recording reviews or live DX, especially for FM season here we have coming up here. So if you want to be part of the Slack channel, you're not already, Rick, go ahead and drop your email in there now in the chat for me. And you can reach out to Rick and in Omaha there, and he can get you set up with a account on our Slack channel and get you in there so you can be part of the fun. It's just a bunch of folks who sit there and we just talk DX randomly throughout the day. And, sometimes there's a lot of people in there. Sometimes there's hardly anybody. It just depends on what time of the day you're looking at and how active things are. So there you go. Rick, there you go. I thought you were dropping it in there. Never mind. So if you can drop your email address in there, Rick, for folks to reach out to about getting the Slack channel set up for them, then we should be good to go. All right. We're going to do a little preview later on. Not preview, but we're going to talk about what to expect for Season 5 of DX Central Live, which will be coming up in the fall. We got all kinds of stuff to get to tonight. But before we do any of that, we've got some Live DX to get to, my friends. That's what we're here for. We're here for Live DX. And this hour of Live DX is brought to you by the kind folks at the National Radio Club. And it's the nationalradioclub.org. That's where you want to go for your website for more information about becoming a member of the NRC. All right, let's start off with some DX. Now, we've got a couple of different changes here. So one thing that's new is our SDR here. Our Kiwi SDR is up and line. You guys saw it last week during our live stream. I kind of held it up to the camera. This week, it is now active, and here it is. We're going to rotate some of our Superloops around a bit as far as what antenna will be used on there. Most of the time, it's going to be our east-west antenna, which is 83 degrees on the east and 263 on the west side. So we're going to be rotating those through. But let's start with those real quick and just see what we can hear. It's a little early still for conditions to be too skywavy, but let's go ahead and take a look at the DX and see what's coming in as we do our first top-of-the-hour alert of the night. Top-of-the-hour alert means we are looking for top-of-the-hour IDs on the AM band, and let's start here on our new DX Central Kiwi with our 15 by 56 Superloop pointing at west 263 degrees. It's a little noisy right now because it's still early in the evening. Let's take a look and see, and let's start here on 790 and see what we got. Oh, nothing yet. We may have to swap over to our north Superloop. 780's a little loud, 770. Yeah, the low end of the band has just not really come in yet on that antenna. Let's take a look at our shortwave central Kiwi with the big Kaz antenna.
Mere moments away.
And we're going to go to 790 over here as well. Nothing there quite yet either. So let's go ahead and take a look at our Perseus. And on the Perseus, we are right now on our 22 by 72 foot Superloop that is pointing at 15 degrees. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what's there. Woo. Rick, get your email address in there, buddy, for the Slack folks. Hey, Ma. Boy, the conditions just are not participating with us right now very well. It is still super early. You can see the gray line still off the East Coast, hasn't even hit Charleston yet. So what we're going to do here, as a replacement, since the conditions are not conducive right now to us doing any DX, let's go back and see, what did we catch this morning? Shall we do that? All right, you guys like to do IQ recording review. Let's take a look and see what was coming in this morning and see if we caught anything that was coming in on our... Let's start with the 6 a.m. here on 790. Yeah, the low end of the band is just not in yet, but we're getting there. So this is from this morning. This is 6 a.m. local time this morning. We're starting off on 790. It's been a decent week of DX. Heard a bit more than I thought I would this week, including a couple new ones. Got a couple new ones this week. There was an ID in there, 92.9, which, if I remember correctly, is... Let me pull up our friend Tim Trump's website here. As I look at 790, I'm just going to look at this off screen here. And again, we're not doing a live look at the DX right now because too early. It's still bright and sunny outside, and so the conditions are not conducive for live DX right now. So we're looking back at our DX that we caught this morning on our IQ recording from 6 a.m. here on 790. And if I remember correctly, we just had a 92.9 coming in there. And if I remember correctly, that is... I want to say that's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee. Well, it doesn't say. I thought maybe I heard that earlier this week. 92.9. Yeah, that's Memphis. WMC. ESPN. Well, okay, let me back up for a second. So WMC is a BetQL sports station. They don't simulcast on 92.9, but they do promos for their sister station, which is ESPN on 92.9 there in Memphis. That's what it was. So let's go back and get that again. All right, let me go back in here one more time. What's up, Jacob? So I know we have WMC in there, and I think the other one in there is WTSK in Tuscaloosa, which, believe it or not, was actually a new one for me this week when I heard them. Let me go back here down to 780. Bam. That's going to be Jackson, the IIN there. Jackson, Mississippi. Let's see who we had at 770. Conditions this morning weren't great either. We had some storms around, some thunder. It wasn't significant or anything, but it was enough to make things kind of gross. Hey, Bart. Their 770 was KAAM. They're in Allen, Texas, in the DFW area. And let's see, 760, was it XEABC? Yes, it was. Radio Cañón. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. If you have some good DX catches that you wanted to put into a shout out, which we usually had a bug flying around me there. Shout outs. Let me go ahead and I will. Is that it? That's it. There we go. There's your form. That's a season ending shout out. So that's just kind of where you have a chance to recap all the cool stuff that you've caught since basically September, because we're wrapping up our season of the live streams tonight, right? But you can put in everything, basically all the cool stuff that you did this year, new states, new countries. How many new stations did you get? Are any of those memorable or significant? Any distance records, all that kind of stuff. So there is the link you can click on to fill all those out. We'll be doing a round of shout outs here in just a bit. There is KKNO Gretna this morning. Did not think they'd miss it. Over KTRH. I haven't heard Oklahoma this week. No KRMG, and usually they're there. Competing with Houston. But I did hear Zoomer. Yeah, that is true. Nice, Lacey. Yeah, we get some of those here on the Gulf Coast sometimes. Here in the New Orleans area, we'll get those little Tropo openings that get us over into. We see the whole Gulf Coast region. I've heard all up and down the Texas coastline and into Texas, down into Mexico, right there at Reynosa, down into Veracruz. I've heard the Yucatan Peninsula, and then back up into to South Florida, Tampa, over that way, up into the Panhandle. So just from tropospheric ducting conditions, I'll hear pretty much that whole Gulf area. The only area I have not yet gotten on FM, Tropo or otherwise, that I really just baffled by, but oh god, I want it bad, is Cuba. No Cuba yet. That's the one area of the Gulf, and the Keys and the Cuba. Those two are kind of obviously pretty close together. If I can get those two on FM for the Gulf Coast, I'll have the entire Compass Rose covered, pretty much here on the Gulf Coast. But that's awesome. That is awesome. That's one of the great things about those online SDRs. You get a chance to experience conditions from wherever. I want to figure out how to get an FM rig going up in get one running here so people can log in and listen in from our Gulf Tropo stuff. But we also may do some live streams this year. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So I think, the conditions right now aren't super great for the live DX. We were looking at some AM stuff from this morning. Nothing really out of the ordinary. There was KTRH was in there, KKNO, our local in Gretna. We had XEABC in Mexico, which is our normal one that we usually get on 760, 770. We had KAAM in Allen, Texas. 780 was Jackson, Mississippi. IIN. 790 was WMC and WTSK. So all pretty normal sunrise stuff for us from this week. The only one I didn't do was 730, and I can tell you that was XEX. I don't even have to look. It was XEX. All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We've got to start the process of wrapping up our Season 3 of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. We have got to announce a new challenge for the summer. And a whole lot more. We've got your shout-outs to get to first, though. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live is heading your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AM/DX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AM/DXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AM/DXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News member bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana, every Friday night, at least for one more night tonight. And we bring you live DX and a whole lot more on DX Central Live. Hopefully you guys are all having a great week with DX and good night tonight. We've got a lot to talk about tonight, but first, before we do anything else, I want to get your shout-outs in, because these are, let me get this queued up here. These are always my favorite part of the show, is when we get to talk about you guys and all the cool stuff that you've been hearing, because it's contagious, because it makes me want to go back in DX as well. So we've got a bunch of shout-outs to get to here tonight. So let's go ahead and get our first round in. We'll be doing a couple rounds as we go through the night. And then, as we usually do, we'll be reading our own stuff from the season later on in the show as well. So, again, this is a recap of the season itself from basically September 1st to now. The DX season is not over. Obviously, FM is just getting started, but AM season's not over either. It continues on. Just because it's May doesn't mean pack up your AM and you're done. No. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit as well. We have some stuff that might help with that. Let's get started with our first round, though. Shout-outs here on DX Central Live season finale. Let's make sure our Horn of Victory is tuned up and ready to go tonight. All right, seems responsive. We're good. All right, so let's start off with our first person. Let's see. Do I have it where I can do this and then do that? Yes, I do. Okay, great. And we're going to shrink that down a little bit, and then we can do this. I'm just doing a little administrative stuff back in the background here. Okay, great. Start with Tom Laskowski. Tom, my friend, did some pretty cool stuff this week. This season. Had a great DX season in 2023, 2024. Not too shabby. 163 new logs overall for Tom in South Bend, Indiana. Got a new country with Ecuador on 1510 Radio Monumental. Completed the lower 48, all 48 of the lower 48 continental U.S. states here, with Oregon on 750 KXTG during the great WSP silent period of 2024. Heard his most wanted station since he began DXing in 1981. 1000 KNWN used to be Como. They're in Seattle for Washington number 4. 2 new stations from Wisconsin, 1260 WOCO Wisconsin number 100 and 1470 WRYU. Got a new log from Maine, 620 WZON for his second station from this rare state. A new station from Colombia on 680 HJZO. 2 new Cubans on 750 and 860, and 3 new Mexicans. No Mexican states form, no new Mexican states, but they get 3 new Mexican stations. His goal next season is to hear Argentina on 750, British Virgin Islands on 780, and trying to add either Nova Scotia or Newfoundland, and at least 25 new stations. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff to get to here for him. Let's start off, though, with the traditional new logs. And also, new country with Ecuador. So we're going to stamp some passport here. We're going to find ourselves a nice blank page. And Mr. Laskowski's on his way to Ecuador. So we're going to, oh, there's a nice blank page right there. We might stamp out and say, you are good to go, my friend. Yes, sir. Completed the lower 48 by getting Oregon. So that's a new U.S. state. And you know what? We're going to count this as a goal achieved with his log of KNWN 1000 in Seattle, Washington. That's a new goal. I ran out of breath a long time ago, buddy. And the new Wisconsin, 2 new Wisconsin. So we're going to cut some cheese. Well done, Tom, my friend. Whoa, hey now. That's what I was meaning to do. What a great season for Tom, and anytime you can get all 48 states in the lower 48, that's a pretty big accomplishment. But to add in new countries in there and a station you've been chasing for years and years and years, so my friend, that is freaking awesome, and a bunch of new ones, 163 new stations. Awesome season for Tom. Congratulations, my friend. Our friend Mexico Mike J. Let's get you up on the podium here, my friend. The big achievement for him was repairing both his W6 LVP loop and his Kiwi SDR. Getting back in the game after 9 months of disappointing inactivity. I feel you. I know what that's like. That led to 43 newly logged stations, including new states in Virginia and Maryland, a new province with British Columbia, new country in Ecuador, plus 2 new ones from Louisiana, because I want that gumbo, he says. Well, we're going to start you off with some of that right now. I ain't even waiting. We ain't even going to wait, my friend. He even spelled it right. He said dat, D-A-T, got dat gumbo. So we had to give him that props first. But that's not all he did, right? He got the new country with Ecuador, so we're going to stamp his passport as well. And nice to see you, Mr. Jessiorski. And we're going to get you on your way here to Ecuador in just a few moments. Going to just find us a nice little... You've been doing a lot of traveling here. Oh, there we go. Let's go ahead and stamp your passport here. Got you approved and all set to go. And you have yourself a safe trip. 43 new logs, so let's go ahead and do that one too. New states, Virginia, Maryland. I should probably do these as I do it, right? And I haven't forgot about it. My friends, it's been a while. Please stand and rise for the playing of the Canadian National Anthem for the new province of British Columbia for our friend Mexico Mike J. We say, congratulations. Eh? It has been a while since we let the moose loose, but he is going to be running around quite a bit tonight. As I remember, a lot of you did hear quite a few new Canadian provinces this year, so we're going to see a lot of that moose tonight. And we're about to do it again because we got Barry Bankson. Good job, Mike. Mexico Mike J. Awesome job, my friend. Great season for you. Our friend Barry Bankston in Crossville, Tennessee. What does he have going on this year? Well, he surpassed 1,600 logs for one. Some notable logs for the season. Let's go ahead and get him the logs going for that. Some notable logs this season. These are new countries. Listen to this list. This is AMDX, and guys, this isn't ham radio. This isn't shortwave. This was his AMDX season. All right. Barry got Tonga, Moldova, Romania, Benin, Argentina, and the British Virgin Islands for new countries for our friend Barry Bankson. We're going to need more than one page to stamp here for you, man, because damn, you got some frequent flyer mileage on this one. And we're not done because he got himself a new state with Washington. and we're letting the moose loose. British Columbia in the house. Yes, sir. All right. Well done, Barry, my friend. Fantastic season for you. You bring it every year, but this year that's a whole new level, man. That's a whole new level there. We got 10 so far, and we're at number 5, so we've got it split in half. So this is good ender for round 1. We'll end here for round 1, and then we'll bounce back to round round 2 here in the next hour. We'll continue and we'll pick up where we left off here. There's some good stuff coming. There's some really, really good stuff coming here. Let's start with our friend Carl, though. Carl DeWitt in Kingsport, Tennessee. Get you tuned up here. Yep. We got 8 new logs. Let's see. I got a bunch of new ones this year, but I think this is last week. WYBT Florida, WFNI Indiana, WZZB Indiana, WRIX in South Carolina, WURN in Florida, WIOO in Pennsylvania, WMOV in West Virginia, WOVXX in Virginia, none of which were on this week's challenge frequencies. Current totals now stand at 751. That means his goal of 750 by mid-May. One new state this season got, let's go ahead and get those logs in there, and... And the goal achievement got a new state this year. WHJJ in Rhode Island to complete the southern New England area. Got a new one from Mexico, a new Mexican state, XEUR on 1530. So we're going to do that guy. Up to, let's see, 189 stations logged by Carl on medium wave since the end of our season 3 that we had last year in May. 189 stations since then. He's up to 32 logs on the graveyard frequencies, so that's pretty freaking awesome. We're going to get some more of that action going on. Oop, there we go. And, it took it a second to get it going there, but it's going now. That chainsaw's getting tired. On FM, 27 new stations this year. Started on SDRs with an Air Spy, HF Plus Discovery, and W6LVP loop. Set some goals and strategies for summer medium wave DX. He's got a PA0 RDT mini whip he plans to get in the air for fall, and a plan to put up a Superloop, which will be between 70 and 75 feet on the horizontal, 20 feet vertical. Good. My goal for early in the fall is 775 stations and at least 800 by November 21st this year, which will be his 3-year anniversary of DXing there in Kingsport. FM totals now sit at 169. Like to log at least 100 new ones this summer. Some software updates are also planned for the summer. So a busy year for our friend Carl, but he's got his sights set on the next bit. Well done, Carl. That's how you know a hardcore DXer, man. Hardcore DXers, It's like us in Louisiana. In Louisiana, we're eating lunch, but we're already talking about what we're going to have for dinner, right? We get done with breakfast, we're talking about what we're going to have for lunch. We're eating dinner, we're talking about breakfast the next morning, right? We're never satisfied with what we got going on right now. We're talking about the next thing. And so Carl's over here saying, I just had a great season. Let me tell you what my goals are next year. Love it, man. Love it. Outstanding. All right, that's our first round of shout-outs. We're going to get to more of those here. Round 2 coming up here after the top of the next hour. But before we do anything else, let's see. I did want to do another reminder on the Slack channel, and actually, let me do this because I don't think your email message came through, Rick, and I suspect that YouTube strips that out because I've heard of that before, that they don't allow email addresses to get posted in the chat. So what we're gonna do here is I'm going to, Rick, if you'll confirm for me, is it the drummer email address? Is that the one we're using? You'll confirm for me in the chat there if the drummer email address that's on the Slack channel now, if that's the one you want us to use. Okay. So I'm going to post his email address into the chat here. It's going to be a little bit different format to get around the stuff here. It is drummer1965us@hotmail.com. That's where you want to, if you are interested in being part of the Slack channel, that's where you'll want to send your email, and he'll get you set up with an account and get all that invite sent over to you. Just from there, you have to look for the invite to come to your email, and there's a link you click on, all this other kind of stuff. So you may want to pop those instructions in there. Bill worked. Awesome. Well, Bill is a moderator, so that makes sense. So drummer1965us@hotmail.com. That's your email address to send if you want to be part of the Slack channel. It's really going to be awesome for FM season. It's also great for AM season as well. We compare notes. We're like, hey, man, you hearing this right now? Blah, blah, blah. We talk about gear. We talk about what we're hearing on the air at this moment. The FMDX channel is going to be just blitzed out here in a handful of weeks with e-skip season going on. You start seeing all these RDS decode screenshots and, hey, I'm hearing this one, I'm hearing this one, I'm hearing this one. Look at the map over here. Look at this going on. Like, it's going to be fast and furious. So if you're an FMDXer, man, you're going to want to be part of that one. Because I've got a lot of stuff that I would have missed and not even noticed if I hadn't been in there. So just shoot an email to Rick and he'll get you set up with an account. All right, so that is, let's take a look here at, speaking of FM, we just had an FM e-skip opening, our first one. So we're going to take a look at the map here from yesterday. Actually, let's look at right now, just to make sure. So I'm going to put this up on screen, and we'll make sure that we're not missing anything here. All right, let's put our map up. This is fmlist.org, so it looks pretty quiet right now. Brian in Dalton, Georgia had a couple ones coming in here into Georgia, so a little, either some tropo enhancement or something along those lines. But let's look at yesterday. Let's look at yesterday's map. So this is today. Let's look at yesterday. Come on. Might take it a second to load. But yesterday we had our first kind of e-skip opening of the year here in the North American continent in the U.S. It was kind of centered kind of over top of us here in Mandeville in southern Louisiana. That's where the cloud seemed to be. And so we weren't able to really do anything from our side, but I know Les Rayburn in Alabama, he was hearing northwest of him. Our folks over in the Boot Crew North up in Arkansas, they were hearing, I think, northeast or east. So there was some definite e-skip going on yesterday. We have our first couple openings also happening in Europe. This is going to be fun if this pops up. Usually it's been acting funny. So this is another thing for season 5. I'm going to have to break down and buy a new streaming computer. It's become apparent to me over the last couple of weeks that that this computer is not going to cut it for streaming anymore. It'll be fine for my SDR work, but this is going to be one of the upgrades that has to happen later on the summer before we get into our next season as an upgrade on the computer. Because as you can see, this is just, it's been doing this a lot lately where it's like, I don't know if I want to load or not. Let me see if I can just hit refresh. There we go. This was a little bit of yesterday, and some of the logs haven't been put in yet. So you'll see here, Boot Crew North, they were seeing up to the north. That was Ethan seeing up north into Minnesota. There was some other stuff. I think he said some Michigan in there. See some of the folks up in the Mid-Atlantic seeing into Oklahoma. If I look back, I think the second there was also another one here too, where it started. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Well, that was some Tropo, probably some Tropo openings there. Look at so this is what was been happening over here on the European side. Look what they've been already dealing with from May. They started May 1st. They had their first opening May 1st, and I think I can show that to you here. Yeah, their first openings were coming in May 1st. We had a little bit of Tropo. Okay, this was the one that was resulting in just to our east here, where you can see it kind of right here. It's kind of centered in this area. I think the cloud we were a little too close to the cloud because there were some people seeing down into Florida, Tennessee, and Georgia seeing down to Mexico. So yeah, this was the first e-skip opening. Actually, was on May 1st. This was the first one that we had here in the U.S. And let me look over here on the 3rd, I think it was. I'm trying to remember where it was. Our friend over in Ireland. Let's see. Maybe not. I thought there was a day in here where they just had like crazy E down into Portugal, like 200 logs here into Portugal. That might have been an older one. Anyway, so the e-skip openings have begun, right? So we're starting to see e-skip now starting to happen here in the area, in the U.S. here. May 1st is pretty early. I think the first ones last year were about a week or two later. My first one I had here was May 19th. That was the first one I had. Now, we did have our openings back in like January, which was kind of a delayed opening for, my theory is it was a delayed opening. We usually see stuff in December. It just didn't materialize until January. That's my theory. So yeah, that will hopefully, we'll see. There's been people who have studied this. There's been no correlation to an early start to the season being a sign of like a really awesome season or a strong season or a lot of openings or good openings. There's no correlation to that in the data. But at the very least, we don't have to sit here and wait. We may not have much to do this season if it doesn't really pan out, but we're not gonna have to sit here and wait for it to at least get started maybe. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how it kind of pans out. But this is the time. If you have not yet gotten yourself ready for FM season, I'm talking about doing your band scans, getting your gear up to snuff, making sure your antennas are all good and your feed lines are looking good. Familiarize yourself with your software. If you're using SDRs, make sure if you are that you've got all of your databases and everything, all that stuff updated and ready to go. This is the time to get all the kinks worked out because, man, once this stuff starts going, it's going. And so this should be final preparation time for FMDXers. You should have gotten a lot of this stuff done probably weeks ago, but at the very least, if you haven't started yet, you've got a little bit of time left probably before e-skip season really gets going too significantly. All right, so yeah, let's at least talk about that. FM season has begun. Let's go ahead now and look at our next adventure for the DX season, for the AM DX season. So FM season is kind of hard to do a challenge around because if the band's not open, what are we doing, right? And it can be very localized. Like certain areas might get a whole bunch of openings and other people don't get any. So it's not really something you can really do a challenge around FMDX. We did last year with our Grand Slam. I think that was probably the best approach with the FMDX is the Grand Slam challenge we did last year with baseball, where if you have it, you can put those in there. We can catch baseball games, for Tropo or e-skip or whatever. But FM season, it's almost impossible to do like a contest challenge type situation because it's so hit or miss if you're gonna have anything at all, right? So we're gonna do a challenge this year for summer. It will be an AMDX challenge. So we are wrapping up our medium wave frequency challenge for the season 3. Our weekly challenges, that's gonna end here in about 19 minutes. The last week will end. We'll be tallying up the results here in a bit. But we didn't want you to be left out in the cold. We didn't want you to have nothing because I have talked about this extensively on this live stream that AMDX season does not end when FMDX season starts, right? It's not like you get to May 1st and you just pack up your AM gear and say, I'll see you in the fall. No. There are some fantastic DX to be had in the summertime. And so to incentivize all of us to continue to push on with that, and I'm including myself here because I slack on this too, to incentivize us to all keep moving and keep doing some DX during the summertime on AM, we're launching a new challenge. Sean?
Summer. A time for road trips, backyard cookouts, and lounging by the pool. But this year, it also means spending time with your radio for DX Central's Summer of DX Challenge. Who says medium wave season ends in May? Not us. Just register at dxchallenges.com and then submit your loggings. That's it. Scores from the challenge will be tallied in September, with results presented during the season premiere of Season 5 of DX Central Live. Don't let the FM band have all the fun this year and experience the fun of summertime medium wave DX. It's the DX Central Summer of DX Challenge. Rules and details are available at dxchallenges.com.
All right, there you go. The Summer of DX is officially underway at the top of the hour here at 8 o'clock. We launch the Summer of DX here at DX Central. So I want to take a second to kind of walk you guys through, because this is a little bit of a different challenge from what we normally get to do with our weekly challenges that we do here at DX Central. This will be a little bit different. For one thing, there will be a score. And we've taken some measures here to try to even the playing field a little bit, okay? Our East Coast DXers, our SDR DXers, it's easy, right? Because there's so many stations out on the East Coast, and when you're DXing off an SDR, there's so many stations that you can get those in, right? You can get, all your recordings, just sit there and listen to it, and you get everything. So we're trying to level the playing field this year a little bit with this summer's challenge. So let's go ahead and take a look now at our, this will be live here at the top of the hour. This is our official challenge website for the Summer of DX. You can actually go ahead now and take a look at it, but the form will not be live until 8 o'clock tonight. So we begin at 8 o'clock tonight. This runs through 23:59 UTC on August the 31st. So this is the entire summer. So on August 31st at 23:59 UTC, this cuts off and everything will be done. So we've got a 4-month-long challenge here. Super, super cool. You'll see here on the website, on the Summer of DX website, which will be, if you go to dxchallenges.com, there'll be a banner. I have to update it after the stream tonight. I'll be doing some work, but it'll be up there for you to be able to log in directly to that. You do have to have an account at dxchallenges.com. Okay, so if you've been doing our weekly challenges, you're good to go, right? You just log in, go to the Summer DX page, and then you're in. But if you don't, you just create your account and log in, and then you're good to go. Some things that I want to make sure you guys keep in mind. This is open for the entire AM band from 5:30 to 7:10, and this includes anyone around the world. This is not a U.S. thing. This is not a Canadian thing or a North American thing. This is anybody around the world can DX this challenge. So if you're watching us from an island in the South Pacific, I'm jealous, but if you're sitting in the Keys or if you're in Europe on top of a mountain, I don't care where you are. If you have an AM radio that can receive AM radio stations, you can be part of this challenge. We've got on our form where you can fill out every AM frequency on both the 9 and 10 kilohertz splits are available, so you can log anything you hear. Any station that is heard in that range is fair game. Pirates are fair game. TIS HAR stations are fair game. The only thing that's off limits is if it's not actually broadcasting on that frequency. So spurs, images, harmonics, those don't count. Everything else that's broadcasting on that frequency, if it's transmitting on that frequency that you're logging, it's fair game, right? We do have a encouragement for portable operation, which you're going to see here in a moment. We talk about our scores. But if you do go portable, then we want you to make sure that you keep it within 25 miles of your location for any logs that you're going to count. If you go outside of that 25 miles, you either have to note that on your form with a different location or just create a new registration. If you're doing a lot of that, you can create a new login and just log all your portable stuff from that location and that other account. The equipment that you use has to be your own. Right. So we have 2 Kiwis here at DX Central that we maintain our own here at DX Central, and then the Shortwave Central sister Kiwi around the corner. So those are fine. Like if you have an online receiver like Jacob in Minnesota has, if you have an on Mike down in Mexico, if you have an online receiver that you manage, cool, knock it out. Use that all as much as you can. But I'm not going to be using Jacobs to log my stuff or Mike's to log my stuff, right? Like you have to be actually in possession of or maintain or own the equipment that you're using. Stations can only be logged once during the challenge. So if, we're going to be doing some spot checking as we go along the summer here. Any duplicate entries, we'll be taking those out. And I'm going to show you here in a moment how you can actually prevent that, kind of double check. Stations can only be logged once. Okay, I said that, right? There will be a scoring system. We'll talk about those here in a few moments. The score will be made at the end of the season. We'll tally everything up at the end of the season, at the end of the challenge. And then we'll premiere season 5 of DX Central Live, and that'll be when we do the announcement of the scores and how everything kind of panned out. Entries must be submitted using our official form, which is going to be on this page. So don't email me logs. That's not going to count. I'm going to point you to the form. Anything submitted to the clubs or on social media, not going to count. It's got to be in the form. If it's not in the form, it doesn't exist, right? DXers are encouraged to use mediumwavelist.org for the most accurate data for distance and mileage from their receive location to the DX. And we actually have a video here on our page that tells you how to do that. There's also some folks who were having some questions about how to use medium wave list. I think Dennis had a question in the Slack channel about how to log stations on medium wave list. Here you go. Right here is a video that talks about how to do that. Walks you through the steps, but you can also see on here how to create an account, how to create your location, how to get your distances. All that stuff is on that video. So definitely do that. This walkthrough video is what we're doing right now, but for anyone who misses it, this walkthrough will also be there for them. We're going to divide this up into categories, which will also be applied at the end of the challenge. But it's not going to be just the overall, right? There's going to be categories, which is based on your time zone, right? International is everyone outside of North America, basically. But in North America, you're going to have your Atlantic, your Eastern, your Central, your Mountain, your Pacific. That'll be based off of where you are registered, your location, your registration location. That's where I'm going to apply that time zone category to you. And everyone else who's not in one of those, Atlantic, Eastern, Central, Mountain, or Pacific, everyone outside of that is international. Let's look at the scores, though. These are going to be calculated again at the end of the challenge. Point structure may change. We're going to make this may be a dynamic, evolving thing as we go along and we see some different interests that might be there. But here's what we're looking at for how it's going to start. So you're going to get 1 point for every log. Every log is at least worth 1 point. But depending on the distance from your location to that station that you catch, you'll get extra points for every 100 miles. So everything from 0 to 199 is 1 point, right? Everything from 0 to 199 miles from your location is worth 1 point. 200 to 299, 2 points. 300 to 399, 3 points, and so forth, right? And so the further you're catching, and this is one of those balancing acts, right? So the East Coast folks have more DX, but they're all closer in. The West Coast folks have less DX, but they're all further away. So this is a way to kind of balance some of that a little bit. You're also going to get 5 bonus points for every month in the challenge that you submit a logging for. So there are 4 months. There's May, June, July, and August. Every one of those months that you submit a logging, you get 5 bonus points. So you can get up to 20 bonus points just by submitting a log, right? And for our folks who like to use portables, and I need to do more of this myself, if you use a portable radio for your or a desktop, just basically a non-SDR, is what I'm basically saying here. If you're not using an SDR for your DX here, every logging that you submit that you didn't use an SDR for, because you're going to put on there what radio or antenna you use, right? For everyone that you don't use an SDR for, if it's a portable or a desktop model, you get 10 points. Bonus for every one of those catches. So the theory here is you're going to have a lot fewer catches using a portable or a desktop model than you would if you're using SDRs. So it kind of balances that out, right? So again, we may have to adjust some of those as we go along if we see things getting too wonky or whatever. But that's kind of the idea, is to try to balance things out a little bit and give our West Coast folks a little love, give our non-SDR folks a little love so they have a chance to do some cool stuff as well. I want to thank our street team, Mexico Mike J, Barry, Bill, and Sean and Stephanie for their help in kind of some of the ideas that I was kind of thinking, kind of percolating off of this and doing some cross-checking for me on the rules and the scoring and everything else. They were a big help on that, so thank you. You guys heard Sean's voice in the video we did a few moments ago. The official rules will be here on the page. So if you wanted to print this PDF out or put it on your computer or whatever, you do have that. Some other things that you'll have at your disposal, we have a wallpaper as well. So if you want to put that on your desktop, on your computer as a reminder, hey, I need to go do some DX, then there you go. We also have a merch store. Some folks were asking about t-shirts and stuff like that for DX Central. And some of the street team folks were like, hey, this logo would be awesome on a t-shirt. So here you go. We got a spread shop store here for the summer of DX. You'll have all kinds of cool stuff. You got different colored t-shirts. You got a mug. You got a water bottle and all kinds of stuff. And there is, I think, a sale going on right now as well, 20% off of anything that's in there for the next 5 days or so. You'll see here, I put a change log in so that if things have changed, you'll see the date that they changed and what was changed. So if I do update the scoring structure or anything like that, you'll see that on here. You'll have your logging entry form that'll be right here. There is now going to, and then we're going to carry this over to next season, by the way. By popular request, there will be a button that you can click on to actually submit corrections. These will all go to a spreadsheet, so it'll be easier for me to manage. If you guys have, if you fat finger a call sign or, reverse your numbers on a frequency or whatever, if you have a correction you need, you can submit a quick form here. You just click on it, boop, and it'll take you to the correction form. And then, like I said, that'll go to there it is. Your name, your entry ID. You'll need that from your original entry that you submitted that needs to be corrected. And then what type of correction it is and kind of describe what it needs to happen. That just helps me kind of process all those because those can add up pretty quick. You'll have an area here for submitted loggings just like you do now on our weekly pages. So you'll be able to search that to see, have I already logged KTRH yet? So you can type in KTRH Lloyd, and there's Lloyd has not logged KTRH yet, right? So you can search that to see if you've already logged any stations that you're trying to submit, if you're not sure. And then just like we normally have it during our weekly challenges, you'll see all of our states and maps and charts and tables and everything else. We may add more analytics as we go along, but that's kind of the basic framework. How we're going to get started here for the Summer of DX Challenge. So again, this is an AMDX challenge, and so encourage you guys to continue to AMDX all throughout the summer. Gray line's going to be your friend here. I'm going to tell you right now, sunrise and sunset. I've said this on so many weeks, but it really is. There are going to be things that you hear during gray line during the summertime you'll not hear any other time of the year. So sunset, sunrise, this is going to be your best friend if you want to do well in this challenge. And even if you're not chasing the score and the points, but you're chasing new stuff for yourself, gray line, gray line, gray line, gray line, gray line, sunset, sunrise, go to the IRCA, get yourself a copy of the sunset sunrise maps, and study those things and know exactly from your location, what time would you be looking for the gray line to be at a certain place at a certain time during each of those months of the challenge. That's going to help you out tremendously. Okay. So definitely do that. All right. So there you go. That is the Summer of DX Challenge from DX Central. This will be our first, hopefully inaugural. Hopefully we'll do this again for future years. And yeah, I'm really excited. There's a lot of work that went into this one and a lot of thought and a lot of effort that went into putting this one together. So I'm really excited to be launching this. After we get done with the live stream tonight, I'll be updating the website here, the DX Challenges website, with some different ways to kind of get to this. But if you want to go ahead and bookmark this now, Summer of DX, once the form goes live here at the top of the hour, in 5 minutes, you'll be able to start submitting your entries right away. Okay. All right. Let's do some live DX. I think we're in a better condition now for some live DX. Of course, we don't have new frequencies to talk about because we're wrapping up week 18 and season 3 of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. So we're not looking at specific frequencies now. So you guys tell me, where do you want to look? Where's some stuff? Do you want to see what I'm hearing from Latin America? Do you have local Louisiana stations or New Orleans stations you want to see if you can match up to your SDRs or your portables or whatever? You tell me where you want me to go, and we'll make it happen here. We'll let you guys be our guide for what frequencies we start off here for DXing tonight. So grab some frequencies, and we'll start off looking at those. Let me look at the Superloop that's froze, so we're gonna redo that. All right, so the west one is still getting there because we're just now getting into sunset here. So the southern facing CAS is looking pretty nice. Let's take a look and just I'm just gonna pick a frequency. Let's see, you do a video sometime of the pros and cons of omnidirectional versus directional antennas. Yeah, definitely, dude. That's a fantastic idea. Let me write that down. There's my marker. Omnidirectional. And I'm assuming you mean FM, right? I'm assuming you're talking about FM antennas when we say that. Omnidirectional versus directional antennas. Pros and cons. Love it. Okay, yeah, we'll work on that for the summer. We're going to have more time. Since we're not going to be doing show prep, we'll have time to be doing a lot of videos. And I do plan on doing a bunch of videos this summer. I don't know how often I'll put them out, but I'm planning on putting out a bunch this summer. I've got a big list of videos that I want to make. So let's just start down here at the basement. Actually, that's probably a little low right now. Let's start off at my absolute all-time favorite, 1090. Looking for Radio Vision in Tumbes. If you guys have a frequency you want us to check out, though, let me know in the chat. We'll jump there. Anything you want us to take a look at, right? If you want us to take a look any frequency on the AM band, then to do comparisons to what you're hearing or whatever. Just if you want to hear what it sounds like, then let me know and we'll do that. And it is top of the hour time frame. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you, Bill. Dennis had a question. Let me take a look and see. Dennis wants to know, reviewing an FM recording during eSkip, will the database log anything I log with RDS? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. That's probably KAAY right there. So let's find another frequency. I'll touch on that one here in a minute, though, with Dennis. KRLD. I want to do something low down here with the Latin stuff, but it's still a little early for that. That's Memphis. Should be Mexico. Let's just see. Let me do some of my Latin beacon frequencies. No Grand Slam challenge as of right now for this year. We're hiatusing that one for now because we need to do some things with it, but taking some of the data from last year and kind of applying that.
Find a Ramsey trusted agent near you at RamseySolutions.com/agent. Ramsey Solutions. Information around the clock.
What? Oh, yeah. Okay. We got 3 stations that were in here. We got WLAC, which is the one doing the news right now. We had Sports Radio Beaumont, which is KBED in Nederland, Texas. And then you can hear this Spanish music underneath. That is Ecuador.
We've expressed our concerns.
So we have a sports station that I think they just signed off or changed their pattern because I'm not hearing them anymore. Ecuador's in there. Who is this? Oh, that's Navtex right there is what that is. Bill says 780. Still a little early for 780. Listen how loud Ecuador is, though. Jacob says, does it count as a portable if you're using your cell phone for a Kiwi? No. Nice try, though. I applaud the ingenuity.
Online at Navage.com or in stores at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
And the form is live, so you are good to go to start submitting loggings right now for the Summer of DX Challenge. It is officially open. I'll pop that link in the chat again. You do need to be logged in, and again, we'll be updating the website a little bit later on after the stream is over with all the navigation and stuff.
Pastor and law enforcement chaplain Lonnie Klaus gave the invocation at his funeral and said he had the pleasure of knowing Air personally.
A humble hero who would cringe at all these accolades and everything that has happened as the family is nodding.
Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Chief Johnny Jennings recognized Air's wife and parents since he praised Air and thanked all officers who still put on the uniform every day, even knowing they may not make it home. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
A former government employee charged with repeatedly submitting fake tips to the FBI that several of his co-workers in the intelligence community were part of the Capitol riot. Miguel Eugenio Zapata was arrested on a charge that he made false statements to law enforcement. Some Britney Spears fans...
All right, so the Ecuadorian is starting to fade out a bit, so we'll let them go. So now the LEC is kind of coming on top, but they'll trade back again. Ecuador is always in there at some point in the evening. They'll usually be in there. So all right, so we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we are gonna do some more shout outs and get those in for you guys. Of course, this hour of Live DX has been brought to you and will continue to be brought to you by the International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.org. That's where you want to go for more information about becoming a member of the IRCA today. So yeah, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have some more live DX later on. We'll do some shout outs. We're going to talk about this antenna, U-Loop. Saw some discussion in the Slack channel and on social media this week about antennas, the U-Loop specifically. So we're going to talk a bit about the U-Loop. This is another video forthcoming, by the way. So we're going to talk about that. And let's see what else we got. We're going to touch on the using medium wave list for distance that we have the video up on the Summer of DX Challenge site. We're going to talk about that a little bit. In here, we're going to talk about, let's see, we'll wrap up Season 3 of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. We got that coming up. We'll do a little preview of Season 5. We're going to talk about a remodel that we're doing here. We got all kinds of stuff to get to, my friends. So don't go anywhere. More DX Central Live is coming your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News Member Bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. From the pages of its DX Monitor Member Bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AMDX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AMDXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
Summer. A time for road trips, backyard cookouts, and lounging by the pool. But this year, it also means spending time with your radio for DX Central's Summer of DX Challenge. Who says medium wave season ends in May? Not us. Just register at dxchallenges.com and then submit your loggings. That's it. Scores from the challenge will be tallied in September, with results presented during the season premiere of Season 5 of DX Central Live. Don't let the FM band have all the fun this year and experience the fun of summertime medium wave DX. It's the DX Central Summer of DX Challenge. Rules and details are available at dxchallenges.com.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
Summer.
DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana. Bringing you live DX and a whole lot more. DX topics, DX conversations, DX tips and tricks. Pats on the back for you guys and all the amazing DX that you get. We're about to do another round of those here in a few moments. But we're also going to be wrapping up our Season 3 of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. We are now... Everything's done. We've wrapped it up. I've put all the logs on my master spreadsheet, the big one. It's got all the logs on there from the entire season. So we are now closed out. So if you didn't get your logs in, too late. All right. So let's talk a bit about that, actually. And then we're going to get to some shout outs. So this will be up on the website here pretty soon. I just have to change a couple things around. But after the live stream is over, I'll be doing that to put our Season 3 recap up on the site. It has all the stats and everything else. You guys ready to see how we did? Yeah? Let's take a look and see how did Season 3 pan out. All right. Bart wants to see 3 Summer of DX shows, 1 show at the end of each month. That's not a terrible idea, actually. That's decent. I like that, actually. I'll have to give that some thought, actually. Hadn't considered that, but I'll have to give that some thought. We're going to talk about our plans for the summer and for season 5 and all that kind of stuff a little bit later on here in the next hour. All right, so let's take a look here at season 3 of the medium wave frequency challenge. It's been a shortened season to be sure. We started up in late December, January with the graveyard challenge. We didn't start in September this year, which hope to remedy that next year. We'll do that hopefully again starting in September next year with season 4. But it was a pretty awesome season. We Sean says he gets keep playing the video, he gets more royalties that way. It'd be nice, wouldn't it? So yeah, it was we crammed a lot of DX into season 3, I feel like. Even though there wasn't as many weeks, we only had 18 weeks compared to like 30 something last year. We crammed a lot of DX in. So we had some weeks where we had big frequency ranges and things like that. So did a little bit different. Usually, like the last couple of years, we would do like a frequency or two, right? We would do like 1410 this week, or 1410 to 1420 or something like that, right? Or we would do a range if it was like the cleared channels, like 870 to 890 or 840 to 890, something like that, where there's like one dominant station. Usually, we would try to do that. But this year we did the ranges every week to make it a little bit different. And also, there's always going to be somebody who, when you're picking just a couple of frequencies, always going to be somebody who's like, well, I guess I'm not doing it this week. And I don't want that. I don't want there to be weeks where you guys aren't doing it. I want you to all be able to have fun every week. That's the whole point, is for us to do this together and push each other and things like that. So we'll continue to think of ways we can evolve this for season 4 as we go into the summer. But let's go ahead and take a look and see how season 3 did. On this page will be a little recap here, a little message from me, basically saying thank you, which I will do right now for all of you who are here live. Thank you. Whether you submitted 1 log or almost 1,000, Barry, looking at you, buddy. If you just were part of it, even if you didn't submit a log, but you were, playing along at home, and maybe you were, I saw a lot of people posting on social media and in the clubs who didn't submit logs on the forum, but they were still doing the same frequencies that we were. And I thought that was really cool. Like, I'd love to see them participate and put their logs on the forum. That'd be great. Because I'm a data collector, and that's part of what we're doing here as well, as collecting data. But at the same time, I always thought it was really cool to see. You could always kind of tell where we were in our frequency ranges by what loggings were in the clubs and what you were seeing on social media, right? Like, everybody's all in the same range. It was really cool. And one of my favorite parts about the challenge is seeing that and seeing everybody get excited about the new frequencies, and oh wow, I can't wait to kind of see what I'm gonna get this week. And then somebody gets a new one, or an all-time new one, or new country, new state, things like that. It's been amazing. So thank you all for making this a fantastic, shortened but fantastic season of the medium wave frequency challenge. And we're doing it again next year. Like I said, we're already ramping up. I've already started some of the actual activity of planning and doing stuff for season 4. All right. So here is our, you'll be able to sort here on this table right here. I want to talk about this. I talked about it in the video for the Summer of DX challenge as well. But this is where you would go, like, if you're doing the Summer of DX and you want to say, hey, did I hear KTRH yet? I can type in my name and like the call sign or whatever it is I'm looking for, and there it is, right? You can also do this, by the way. I've been doing this a lot lately. Is I will supplement my information that I have from like Tim Trump's website or Mesa Mike's website, things like that, with the data that you guys are providing in your loggings. Great example of that was I was hearing, I think it was Coast to Coast on 740, and I was like, is that KTRH? Do they carry Coast to Coast? Yes, I could have gone up and, gone to one of my other paper resources or something like that, but I also just did a quick search here. And if you're pulling this up, I just searched KTRH here in the search box. The first cell that's in the row, if you click on that, it expands that whole entire row, so you can kind of see what the person left as far as their information about what they heard. And so I can actually look at that and say, okay, does anyone else mentioning Coast to Coast here? That was a log for KCBS. I think Jonathan Baldwin. No, he wasn't. I did here though. Anyway, so this is something I talked about in the Summer DX. So my challenge to you guys for this summer, when you're putting your logs in for this challenge, is be as detailed as you can, because that just helps all of us out, right? So it can help if you say network news, Fox News, there we go, CBS News, ABC News, good. Sports talk, was it ESPN? Is it FS1? Is it BetQL? Who is it, right? Give us some detail in there. They mention FM frequencies in their ID, things like that. Those kinds of things that we're data mining here to help each other out. You can use that table to help see what everyone else is saying. That can help you narrow it down. So you don't have to be like, hey, has anyone heard this particular station say this and this and this? You can always check the table here and also see. And if you don't see it, then, the Slack channel or social media or whatever. But this can be a kind of a first stop. All right, 7,805 total logs. Oh, I got to do it. 7,805 total logs for Season 3 of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. 55 people submitted DX catches this year. I think that's up from last year, if I remember right. We heard all but one state. We didn't hear Alaska this year. We did last year. We had all 50 states plus DC. This year we only had 49 states plus DC. So I'm not sure where that extra state might have come in from. I have to go check. I have to do some data cleanup because sometimes things get a little wonky. So some of this may change a little bit if I do a little data cleanup. But yeah, we had all 50 states except for Alaska, but we did hear DC. So 23 countries were heard this year. 23 countries. That's pretty crazy. All right, there we go. There's our heard stations here. Barry, top dog here at 892 stations logged for the challenge this year. Bill Curry, our season 1 winner, right there with 600. But look at this. Look who's right there in third place with 590. Dennis Bannister. Man, Dennis, you crushed it this year. Right over 4 logs over Jacob. just over Jacob. You and Jacob were neck and neck. 590 for Dennis and 586 here for Jacob. So fantastic, guys. Kudos, man. And like I said, everyone who submitted a log, thank you. You'll see here the kind of the breakdown. Again, some of this may have to clean up. There may be some people who have their name in more than once or something like that. So there may be some cleanup in there, but just an absolutely phenomenal season of loggings, and you can see it kind of bear out here in the data as we go forward. Dennis, I know you got a bunch of new ones this season, so I'm extremely happy for you, man. So kudos to you as well. 2,268 unique stations were logged. That number may tweak a little bit as I do a little cleanup, but roughly it was a little over 2,200 stations were logged. Unique stations. WGN, the most commonly heard, I think. Actually, yeah, 24 different people heard WGN. This is the full list. Okay, it's not just the current. KMOX 24, WWL 23. All right. New Orleans. There's a Toronto station I didn't hear. DHML, didn't hear them. So you can kind of see here kind of the top 22 stations that were heard. So if you're looking for some stations to fill your log and you didn't hear any of these are ones that were pretty widely heard. This might help you identify some targets, right? Logs by frequency. This was, I think, the top 10 frequencies I think I put in here. Maybe 20. I don't remember exactly what it was. But you can see kind of the breakdown here of the top frequencies that brought them in. Obviously, the graveyarders were a big one, but look at 1410. So if you're trying to fill your logbook and you don't have a lot on 1410, that could be a great frequency for you to check this summer. Just saying. 940 was another one. 920, 1420. Yep, you can kind of see here some of the frequencies that we're bringing in the juice. Logs by week here. Obviously, in week 1 with the graveyard challenge, that was going to be number 1 by far. But some good weeks in here as well. It did kind of trail off as we kind of got later. And, well, actually, this is, of course, it's going to look like it's going to trail off. It's not in order. But we did have a little bit of trail off here the last couple of weeks, week 16, week 17, things like that. But overall, I think it was a pretty good season. We had a pretty good turnout, pretty good participation overall this season. I'm not sure why week 18 didn't show up. I'll have to add that in there. Here's always my favorite one, is always the maps. And looking at this one, this is a heat map of logs by state. So these are actual, the states that were heard. Okay. And you can hover over the state and see a count of how many logs were in there. So look at that. I mean, Illinois 373, New York 416, Texas 344, Tennessee 368. Those are some big ones. I think our top state was New York, if I remember right, with 416. I think that was number one. The last place was Idaho with 6. Them and Montana was it? Oh, no, Montana and 13. I think it was Idaho with 6, other than Hawaii with the 4. Thanks to Stephanie and some others that were able to get those in there from Hawaii. But Idaho with 6 was our least heard state, so the most sparsely received state. I think, yeah, Delaware may have been right there too. There's 20 in Delaware, so yeah, it was definitely Idaho. States heard by DXers. Jacob Hammond, I don't know what you've got up there, man, with your antenna, but to be able to hear 43 United States in 18 weeks. You've heard more states in the last 18 weeks than I have in 3 years of being here in Louisiana. Kudos, man. That's absolutely fantastic. 43 states in 18 weeks is huge. So that's pretty impressive. Barry right there with 40, 39 for Bill. Sean, 37 states, man. You had yourself a season as well. Neil in Ontario, Justin in Minnesota with 37, crushing it. Dennis, 36. Dennis, David, and Bart all with 36. Fantastic, guys. I mean, just amazing. And again, that's in 18 weeks. How many, just by not even hitting every frequency on the AM band, by the way, right? We didn't hit every single frequency there was, but just off the frequencies we did hit, 43 states were heard by Jacob, and all you guys with 36 or more. That's huge in a short amount of time to see what you can do on AM. Heard countries by DXer. We had a good one this year. We had a good season from countries. 12 countries here, but also Barry with 12. David with 10. They're on the East Coast up in Maine. Jeff with 9. He heard some stuff way down in South America that's got me drooling. Mesa, Mike, and Jacob both with 8. So, yeah, Dennis with 7. Again, really another awesome. Anytime you can get 5 countries, 5 countries is U.S., Canada, Cuba, Mexico, and I'm trying to think what was the other one. U.S., Canada, Cuba, Mexico, and was it Colombia? Colombia might have been the 5th one that I think was like the easiest ones to hear from the United States. So anyone who's at 4 or more is good, is doing really, really well, right? Like that's impressive. If you're at 5 or more, whew, you're doing good. You're hearing some stuff. We luck out here. I'm lucky here because we've got that big, arrangement of Superloops and Cases, and we're here in the Gulf Coast. So I've got a lot of water between me and some of these South American and Central American countries. So I'm fortunate in that. A lot of you guys aren't. So a lot of you inland folks like Jacob up in Minnesota with 8, Barry in Tennessee with 12. I mean, that's super impressive. So kudos, my friends. You see the breakdown by country here as well. I should have just looked at this list right here because that would have told me. There's your top 5. I consider like the easy quote unquote ones to get. The rest of these are a lot harder. I guess the top 4 would be Mexico, Cuba, Canada, and the U.S. Those are like the easy ones to get into a log. So, quote unquote, depending on your location, obviously. Mileage, drum roll on this one. This one came in pretty close, but top mileage, Jacob, 5,900 miles down to Argentina, 5,524 for Bill into Argentina, and Jeff, Radio Nacional in Uruguay with 5,338. My goodness. Look at Mesa Mike here with Argentina, 5154. Jeff, again, Chile, Radio BBN on 1100, 5126. Stephanie out there in the ocean floating out there on the boat with 5123 in Australia. Sean, 4801. I may want to look at that one. I don't know where that one came from. I have to double check that one. Jeff, Radio 2000, Venezuela, 4641. I might check that one as well. Both of those might be a little wonky. I know XETKR, Mexico, that was a Stephanie out floating on the ocean as well. And then Spain, RNE Radio 5 for Barry, 4179. So that's just amazing. When you have, if you talk to people and tell them I can hear 4,000, 5,000 miles away on AM radio, they'd look at you like you're crazy if they didn't know you about DX. But you guys all just did that. So kudos, man. Kudos. Yeah. Something about that 4801 ain't right. I'll have to look at the data on that one. Logs by radio. This is an interesting one if you're looking like, hey, what's a radio I should look at? All right, I get this question all the time on social media and stuff like that. What's a radio I should look at? What's an antenna I should look at? Here's your data. This is 18 weeks of data, and this tells you where the stuff is coming from. SDRs are in the top 5 slots. You have RSP, the SDR Play Suite. You got Perseus. You've got AirSpy. You've got Kiwi. You've got Win Radio. And you can see how sharp that drop off is after the AirSpy, right? So Perseus, AirSpy, and SDR Play. Now, that's not to say that AirSpy is the one I would pick. If I was picking between those 3, I would pick AirSpy, personally. On the antenna side, W6 LVP loop, top spot. Terminated loop with the CAS, DCAS type stuff, terminated deltas. Mag loops with the Wellbrook, with the U-loop, very, very popular. We're going to talk about one of those here in a minute. Long wires in the top 5 right there as well. So if you're looking for a radio or an antenna option, there's your data to tell you kind of what's bringing in the stuff, what are people using, and getting good DX from it. So that should be helpful if you're doing some searching. So that's the recap here for season 3 of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. So just a big, let's do that. There we go. You guys absolutely crushed it this year. I may add a couple more tables and maps and things like that as we go. I may add like a reporting states. We only had 3 countries. We had Mexico, U.S., and Canada this year. We didn't have a lot of entries by our international friends like we did the year before, but that's fine. But I do want to look at the kind of the state breakdown of where the states were and put that next to this map and kind of see how interesting that might look. So yeah, we'll have this up on the website, the dxchallenges.com website here a bit later on, so you guys can go back and look at this. You'll have access to this table of data, which is, I think, the most valuable piece after the fact, is kind of using that to mine for data of what you're hearing. And again, that'll also be helpful for you guys in the Summer DX Challenge as you guys build that table out on that one as well. So kudos, my friends. Congratulations. If you did want to see individual weeks, they're all here except for, I know I need to put 18 on there. I think I need to put 17 as well. Oops. Yeah, 17. No, 17 might be there. Yeah, 17, 16, and 15. I need to put those last couple ones on there. So you'll be able to go to this previous weeks, and you can look at any individual week that you'd like to from here as well. Here's week 14 as an example. So I could look and see any of those particular ones that want. I'll put those last couple ones up, and we should be good to go. All right. So again, thank you all for making this an amazing season of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. Season 4 is right around the corner in the fall. We're already getting some work done on preparing for that, and there will be a couple of slight changes we'll be doing to this next year's challenge. So we'll talk about that in our season premiere of DX Central Live in the fall as well. All right, so again, the Summer of DX Challenge stuff is up and running. We've got the form now live. So when you go to dxchallenges.com and you log in, you click on Get Started, that'll take you right to it, right to the Summer of DX website and the form that's there. Let's do some shout-outs. How about it? Let's do some shout-outs here. Yes. Shout out time, and we're looking at season shout outs here. This is the entire season, and this is round 2. And again, if you want to get your shout outs in, let me get that form link for you guys so you can pop it in here. And season ending submission form. We still got time to get another round in here later on, and we'll be doing our recap as well. So there you go. There is the form link if you want to submit your AM, DX, or FM, both DX shout outs here from September 1st to now. Go ahead and get on that link and get those submitted, and we'll get you in. Let's start off with our friend Stephanie out there floating in the ocean, spending some time living the good life down in the down under in the South Pacific and Hawaii and all that kind of fun stuff. Good season for Stephanie, though. U.S. State number 30 with the new one from Hawaii, coincidentally, on March 3rd, KLHT 1040 in Honolulu 2,664 miles for Stephanie. Come on. I don't know why, but my thingy ain't hitting. It was probably going to all hit all at once here in a second. You know how that goes. We'll continue to read this one here, though. We'll catch up on the little sounds and stuff. New country, longest distance at sea here. 5,124 miles, ABC Melbourne, 774 on April 28th. Very cool. Total of 561 logs from the SoCal desert. Woo-hoo-hoo! And I don't know why my little button ain't doing nothing. I'm just going to keep hitting it so that all goes down at once. A Hawaii video, yeah, actually. Whoa! Whoa! There we go. All right, there you go, Stephanie. You got the Horn of Victory there for you. Dennis, I haven't missed you, man. You're still on the list. I just haven't gotten that far yet. So kudos, Stephanie, my friend. Good job. On adding Hawaii and 561 logs. My goodness. From the desert, the Palm Desert. Sean Kutsko, what you got here, man? Y'all know Sean had himself like there was one week in particular. Remember we had the whole where was it? Yeah, we had the epic movie music here for Sean. A couple of others that had themselves a week this season. Should I do it again now for Sean? Recapping his amazing season? We'll just go ahead and do it normal here. 383 new logs for Sean this season. 5 new states: Connecticut, Utah, South Dakota, Arizona, and Washington. He's pretty sure he heard Idaho, but can't confirm it, but 5 new states. Two Canadian provinces, Manitoba and British Columbia. Two new Canadian provinces for Sean. 2 new countries, including Bonaire and Ecuador. So we're going to stomp that old passport down here. Broke the 750 unique log barrier. Now it's 781 unique logs for Sean. More than doubled the total since the beginning of the season, all thanks to the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery, SDR, the SDR Sharp software with the code channel canceller, a W6 LVP loop, and the NCC2 phaser. See? Having the right tools, man. Best DX, the opening to the Pacific Northwest on February 29th to March 2nd will not soon be forgotten. I can only hope I'll get another opening like that again in my lifetime. Amen, man. Still chewing on the recording from the solar eclipse? So am I. They'll provide lots of entertainment for the summer when the thunderstorms roll in. Yep. I'm right there with you. That's why I haven't gotten too bent out of shape that I haven't done it yet, because I know there'll be times when everything's unplugged and I got to do it. Lastly, the friendship and camaraderie in this group of DXers is second to none. Thank you for all of your advice, tips, and leads. This group rocks, man. So we're going to get you the logs in here, and we're going to get you... a couple of extra horns of victory there, because I am totally in agreement. Totally in agreement, my friend. Kudos to you, Sean. Well done. Next up on the list, we got our friend Dennis. Wave Rider says, you don't have a problem with numerous Cubans on the band where you live. Actually, Cuba's not that bad for me here. I mean, there's a lot of them, especially the ones on the eastern end, or western end of the island, rather. It's Mexico. For me, it's Mexico all day long. It's Mexico, Mexico, Mexico. I'm like almost 100 Mexican stations. I'm not complaining. I love that, to have that many Mexican stations, but there are some of those that are pretty tough to get around. Dennis in Ladysmith, Virginia, finally hit himself 1,000 logs, man. Woohoo! 1,000 logs for our friend Dennis Bannister, hitting 1,000 logs there in Virginia. Most recent logs include 740 WNOP, Newport, Kentucky, 770 WBCN in North Fort Myers, Florida, and his number 1,000 came in the form of 790 KBME in Houston, Texas. So we're going to get you the log saw in... Where'd that go? Log saw in there we go. And he mentioned in the chat earlier, and it wasn't on one of the medium wave frequency challenge frequencies, which is why we didn't talk about it earlier. But Dennis got himself an Argentine log this year that was 5,163 miles, wasn't it? Yeah, 5,163 miles. So he's in that 5,000 mile club as well. So we're gonna give him some extra love here as well. Well done, my friend. It was during that time when 750 WSB was off the air, giving folks that opportunity to hear Argentina. Let's keep this rig rolling here on the shout-outs. Bill in Michigan, 282 total new ones, including 2 new states. He's missing only a couple now for the lower 48. Those are Nevada, Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. He's got everything else in the lower 48. So let's throw him off with some fireworks. And 6 new countries this year for Bill as well. I know Argentina was one of those. And let's get that log saw going on for those new logs. 282 stations logged new for Bill the Hammer. Bill the Hammer with 282, man. I think I'm at 220 something. I'm hoping to, if I can hit 70 more, I'll hit 1,000 this year. I'm 70 away. John in Delaware, too much to summarize. Current total is 1271 AM, and the goal is 1,300 by the end of next season. Current FM total is at 1,362. Would like to get to 1,400 by the end of the season, as well as add New Hampshire and Vermont to the FM log. So you know what? We're gonna give you the big old, we know you got a bunch of new logs this year. And I think there, so we'll throw one of those in there for you. You didn't put it on there, but I think we remember you doing that, so there you go. And all right, John, good job, my friend. And way to bring those totals up, man. That's amazing. And hopefully you get those goals this year. We'll get you that goal one in there next. Lisa, Bakersfield, California, new member of the DX Central Live family and community here. Mentioned earlier, it was on an SDR server on the on SDR Radio, right, for SDR Console. Was listening here in Metairie, Louisiana, just down South Shore, about 20 miles from here, on Wednesday night around 7 o'clock Pacific time. So that'd have been what, 9 o'clock our time. And was hearing Mississippi Public Broadcasting in Biloxi, got Mobile, Alabama Public Radio, Bonifay, Panama City as well, and a couple Ponte Vedra beach stations as well. So from California, from Bakersfield, got to be in there on some of that Gulf Tropo, thanks to online SDRs. Fun stuff, man. Fun stuff. I really want to find a way to get one of our FM rigs up on online so that you guys can hear some Gulf Tropo. If not, then at least we'll try some FM streams. Which brings me to my next topic, because we are now clear of shoutouts. That seems a little odd. I feel like you guys should have some more. Let's get some more shoutouts in the bucket here. So I'm gonna copy and paste that link into the chat. Let's get some more shoutouts. We've got our bucket empty. We need some more shoutouts. I'm hungry. Give me some more. I want to do some more celebrating of what you guys did this year. We'll do ours in the next hour here after 9 o'clock, top of the hour. I'll do ours here in DX Central, what we did this season. But I want to hear from you guys. So if you haven't yet got your shout out in, you still got time. We can get them in this hour. We can get them in next hour. We want to make sure you have your opportunity to celebrate your success in your awesome season of DX. All right. Blazer Bobcat said, congratulations on the good season DX Central Live. Will both AM and FM loggings count for the upcoming DX challenge this summer? Nope, just AM season. AM challenge, rather, for the summer of DX. It only is AM. No FM. Jacob says, look into OpenWebRX. It's the software that Kiwi is based off of. Ooh, I will have to research that to see if I can take one of my my FM receivers and make that available. We could open up an FM rig using OpenWebRX. I may want to do that because I've actually been thinking about putting up a second auto logger type station potentially. I don't know. We'll have to play with it and see. I may. That could be something I could do with the Duo. I could use the Duo. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I want to have the Duo there for diversity mode. I don't know. I got to think about that one. Diversity mode isn't there on the server side yet, and they still. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, some of the SDR play guys watch our live stream, the replays. Hey guys, please, before we get too far here into FM season, if you guys could please do two things for me. Please. Most importantly, and I can't stress enough how important this is RDS within SDR Connect. Okay, that's number one. Because without that, there's no chance anyone's using SDR Connect at all for FMDX. We're going to all be in console or some other HD SDR or something like that. Number two is the diversity mode for the server, like the Raspberry Pi server, one of those, right? SDR Connect server. That would be super awesome for us Duo folks. Please, I just ask him kindly. No, seriously, like the RDS thing, that's huge. That I know no one will be using SDR Connect if there's no RDS on it. And so unless I've missed something in the last couple of weeks, last time I looked, there was no RDS on SDR Connect. So unless I missed something that's changed, I apologize if I've missed that. That's on me. But last time I checked, there was not. Looks like Sean's got a boogie. Take care, my friend. We'll see you on the Slack. Let's see. I know Stephanie bounced as well. If you're still watching and on your way out the door, Stephanie, thank you, and safe travels. All right. Speaking of the Slack channel, I do want to once again remind you that if you are interested in being part of the Slack channel, I've got a person here that I need you to reach out to. So you would just basically reach out to. That's not what I wanted. That's not his email address. That's the thingy. Copy email address. Paste it there. Okay, you guys should hopefully see that email address. If not, I may need you, Bill, to do it again since you're a moderator in the group. Drummer1965us@hotmail.com. Email Rick if you're not yet in the Slack channel and you want to be part of the Slack channel, especially for this summer in FMDX. You're going to want to do that. Just send an email to Rick and he can get you all hooked up and let you know and get the invite over to you and let you know what you need to do. Let's talk about the U-Loop real quick before we get to our next top of the hour sequence here. The U-Loop. So some folks in the Slack channel were talking about this, and I've had some folks request a video, and I do have one in the works. I've scripted it out now. I just got to actually film it and put it together and edit. What do you recommend for folks who are in a apartment or a condo or an HOA where they can't have an antenna outside or things like that? What option would you recommend for them? And so there's two things. Number one is the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery. You guys know how I feel about this. This is tell me an SDR that's better than this. Seriously, tell me for AMDX. I'm talking AMDX. Tell me an SDR that's better than this. And it's probably going to cost more, quite a bit more in most cases. And if it is one that costs more, justify the cost. You cannot tell me an SDR that's cheaper than this that's better. It just isn't going to happen. There's not one out there right now that costs less than this SDR that is better than the AirSpy. Not one. And for those that are out there that are more expensive, justify that extra cost for me. The only thing you might have is that this doesn't record the entire AM band all at once. And I get it. I don't think that's a deterrent, but I get it. But this is the best SDR for AMDX. Period. I have a Perseus. I love my Perseus. I love Jaguar software. This is just for $160, and it's gonna be going on sale soon. They usually do a sale on Memorial Day. Okay, start with this one, HF Plus Discovery from AirSpy. If you need an antenna solution, the U-loop. This is basically a version of a magnetic loop. It's a little bit different in how it's designed, but it's made to pair with the HF Plus D. This is what you get when you order it for $35, by the way, from AirSpy. This is what you get. You get 3 pieces of wire with SMA connectors on both ends. 2 of them are the actual elements that make up the antenna itself. Okay, these guys. And then you have your feed line. Actually, this is the 2 elements, and this is the feed line. Okay? The other pieces, you have 2 little components here. This one that has 1 on each side goes on the top. This one on the bottom. This one that has 2, and the one that comes out the bottom, that goes on the bottom and goes like this. And the piece that comes off the bottom right here, that's where your feed line attaches. And that SMA cable goes from that little connector to your AirSpy, which also has an SMA. Kind of nice. No adapters, no nothing. Straight out of this, right into your AirSpy. This antenna, the way that it's kind of designed and kind of the way it works, it's a passive antenna as of right now. There's some discussions and some testing that's being done around a low noise amplifier for it, but right now it's a passive antenna, so it's not amplified, which is fine because the AirSpy has high dynamic range, and so it actually works really, really well with this very specifically. Now, if you're going to try to plug this U-loop into anything else other than this AirSpy, you're going to have some mixed results. Signals are probably going to be pretty weak. But with this AirSpy and the high dynamic range that it has, and this is not an ad, by the way, this is just me telling you, with the high dynamic range that's on this particular receiver, or if you have like an RSPDX, it doesn't need to be amplified. And so you basically, you put your 2 elements, one on each side of this and on this. You plug your feed line into this. You bring it back to your this, and you're good to go. Now you have to shape it kind of in a circular way, and you can do things like some people will put a like a piece of PVC on there, or like a broomstick or something to kind of mount to with some zip ties or something to kind of help it hold that shape. I used to hook mine on a window in my old house in Charleston. I had one hooked up on a window inside, just right there on the window. Some people put it up in their attics. Some people put it like on their closet door, or like a plastic hanger or something. Whatever you need to do to get it to be up and get it as far away from noise sources as possible. So if you've got a bunch of noise in your apartment or your condo or whatever, you're going to want to get this as far away from that as you can. It's not waterproof, so if you're wanting to put this outdoors, you will need to waterproof those little components that are in there. It's not waterproof. It's not made to be outdoors, but you can waterproof it. Some folks have, and they have fine results. But this $35, this $160. You can find it on sale by the end of the month, I think. And you've got a fantastic AMDX setup. And by the way, this acts like a dipole on FM. You can FMDX with it too. So for under $200, you could be AM and FMDXing like you've never done before, and it just works. It just works. Okay, it works really, really, really well. So I'll be doing a video on the U-loop at some point as part of my AirSpy series that I'm doing right now. I'm kind of focusing on the AirSpy SDR first for my video series, and then I'll be moving on to like my RSPDX and the RSP Duo and some of the others. But if you are interested in this U-loop, just keep an eye out for that video. I'll be posting in the Slack channel or whatnot and social media. This antenna, if you're in a condo or an apartment or an HOA situation and you're having a hard time getting some sort of external antenna for an SDR, this is your solution. Okay. I'm also a big believer of the W6 LVP loop, right? But some folks don't want to spend that kind of money for, what, $200-300 for an antenna. And I totally get that. That's why the U-loop at $35 is the answer. And it will get you started. And then you can decide from there if you want to upgrade. If you want to save up your money to upgrade to a W6 LVP loop or, something like that. You can decide at that point if you want to do that. But if you're wanting to get started and just DX, U-loop. That's what I would say. All right. Let's see. What else do we have on my list tonight? Got that done. FM live streams. Let's talk about that really fast. We're about top of the hour here. So I am planning on trying out some FM live streams. Now, I don't know if I'll be on camera or not. It'll probably be majority of the time if there's like an e-skip opening. It usually happens during the day when I'm at my work for my day job. So more than likely what I'll do is just kind of throw on my auto logger. And then it'll be scanning every frequency. It'll sit for 4 seconds and then go to the next frequency and go to the next frequency and go to the next frequency. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do that on this channel or if I'm going to set up a separate DX Central channel just for the FM live streams. And the reason for that is copyright. Because I just don't want to lose this entire channel because of a copyright from a FM live stream. In my testing so far, 4 seconds seems to be kind of under the radar, but we'll see. But I want to make sure that we have an opportunity for you guys to experience e-skip as we see it here or Tropo as we see it here. So I'd like to do that this year. So again, social media, on the Slack channel, places like that, I will be posting up if we do a live stream, the link and things like that. So if we do create a second DX Central channel for the FM live streams, I'll be sending that out to you guys so you can all subscribe to it and kind of go from there. I just haven't decided how I want to do that yet, but we'll see. So that's my plan for the summer, is to try out some sort of live stream off of the autologger. Again, I probably won't be on screen or on camera for that. You'll just be kind of watching the autologger as it goes through and as it's scanning. So we'll go from there. We did that. We got all of our shout outs done. Do we have any more that come in? I think we're ready to do some more DX here. Again, let me know your frequencies you want me to sit on because we are clear now. We have no frequencies of the week to sit on, so you tell me where you want me to DX. We have a couple more shout outs here, so I'll get some more in before we start up the next round. Walter Johnson in Albany, Georgia, 730 WZGV, Cramerton, North Carolina. Got that one as a new log. Well done, man. Well done, Walter. That's one I used to hear when I was in North Carolina. I haven't heard him in a while, though, as you might imagine, from Louisiana. Boot Crew North checking in. Keegan in Northwest Arkansas, April 30th, 97.1 KEGL, Fort Worth, Texas. The Edge. Oh, no, sorry, the Eagle. 289 miles. 105.1 KEAN, Abilene, Texas, 402 miles. Keene, 105. 102.3 KWFS, Wichita Falls, Texas, The Bull at 284 miles, and 261 miles from 94.1 KZCD in Lawton, Oklahoma. Well done, my friend. Wave Rider says, new neighbors just moved in next door, noticed a rise in the noise on the upper AM band. Think might be their Wi-Fi router power supply. Ooh. Not sure, they're not currently at home. Yeah, if there's ever an opportunity for you to talk to them and kind of work with them on getting like a ferrite choke on that sucker to reduce the noise, or if not, then that's where something like a U-loop on a stick or a PVC pipe that you can turn would come in handy, because maybe you can get rid of the noise that way. Sometimes it's kind of tough, but that is an option. I've used that in hotel rooms with my W6 LVP portable loop to do to turn away from the noise inside the hotel room. Blazer Bobcat, what equipment do you suggest for DX2 or confined to apartment or other indoor dwellings? AirSpy HF Plus Discovery, U-loop, or W6 LVP if you can swing the $200 or $300. $35. 160-ish, maybe on sale soon. There you go. That'll get you set. If you want to go the portable route, like a DEF 6686, which is on AM, it's really good on FM. It's on AM, it's all right. Or like a XH Data D808. You can find one of those on eBay still. Or on, I think AliExpress might have them too. Or one of the Sangeans for a portable if you want to go that route, like a HDR 14 or an HDR 16. But it's this for me. It's this. To be able to record, I'm telling you, if you've never used an SDR to record the band and then go back later and review the recordings, it will change your DX life. It really, really will. So, there you go. That's the indoor one. Like I said, we will be doing a video here pretty soon on that. You know what time it is? Last time of season 4. Our final top of the hour alert. That's what we're about to do here. And we're going to start off here on our... You tell me the frequency. Where am I going? Let me know here where you want me to go. Try 810, says Barry. 810. $810. Is that Bahamas? I kind of doubt that Bahamas would be playing Digital Underground. Take care, Master Player. Yeah, it doesn't look super impressive here either, Jacob. I do hear Bahamas in there, I think. Not playing Digital Underground. That is definitely the Humpty Dance. Featuring Tupac. Oh, we're gonna do the last one. I gotta have our siren on. Come on, Lloyd. We've got so much hash from 820 and 800 here. 820 to BBAP. Yes, he was. This is Colombia. Tupac was absolutely in Digital Underground. Watch the movie Nothing But Trouble. Tupac is in there with them. Yes, sir. That's where he got his start, in a way. Can I get the Utah station on 890? I have not heard them. This is Caracol Radio. Colombia. We're going to look for the Utah on 890. Let me try them on the west wire here. They're not. I'm not going to hear them on the south wire. We can try them on the west wire here.
Supporting a key defense argument. Peter Haralambous, ABC News. An American official tells ABC News that the U.S. has been briefed on some of the Israeli thinking on humanitarian evacuations from Gaza ahead of an Israeli military ground invasion, but says it's not a final plan. Humanitarian aid has arrived in Cyprus in anticipation that a U.S.-built
St. George
could be up and running as early as next week, says a U.S. aid official. Many low-lying parts of Houston are bracing for catastrophic flooding later tonight after a couple of days of torrential rain and high winds. Tornadoes have been reported in Texas.
Yeah, this is probably WLS right here. Yeah, it's still daylight in that part of Utah, so I wouldn't even imagine KSL coming in. Yeah, they're still in daylight there, so probably not much of a chance of them. Let's check out Barry's favorite frequency of 910 and see if we can torture him a little bit here. I'm sorry, bud. It just popped in my head. I'm not going to tell you who this is, Barry, but you know. So that is, that's RSN Radio in San Andres y Providencia, which is a separate country all of its own. It's part of Colombia, but it's counted as a separate country. If you hear that station on 910, if you hear RCN Radio from San Andres y Providencia, that is a separate country. And Barry's been chasing it unsuccessfully for a while, and I feel bad for him, man. But hey, man, just use my SDR here as your way to compare and see if you can get him this summer. I want you to get them this summer. Check 1550. That's actually a really good point. Let's go check 1550 on the West Wire here, and see if we got Arizona. I've tried last couple nights and not heard anything. Yes, Wave Rider. It's an island off the coast of Colombia. There's a station in Arizona here that I've been trying for on 1550. The mic here's down there. Definitely not them. Yeah, they might already be gone. That gray line's right on them. They may already be gone. Hey, dog. Have an appearance here from the DX dog for our last show of the night, season. Here's another frequency I'm going to be spending a lot of time on this summer. It's actually from our frequencies this week. Didn't hear them, but I really want KKOB. Oh, they sound off in 10 minutes? Does KUAC? Sitting right next to each other. Hey. Hey, DX dog. You want to say hi to everybody? Say, hey, Willow. You're on camera. You're on camera now. Yeah? Willow the DX dog. All right. You guys have any more frequencies you want me to check here? You have any more frequencies you want me to check before we wrap up tonight's episode? Then definitely let me know, and we'll check it for you. And we'll see if we can hear anything on one of those amazing Kiwis. Oh, bubbling up on 1550. Let's take a look and see if maybe we have that here. Yeah, not seeing them. I'm not hearing them, rather. I gotta check my vactrols. They have not been working lately. I need to check the insides on those things to make sure everything's still connected. For some reason, they have not been working. But as we do our remodel here, I'll be looking for that. All right. So let's double check and see if we have any more shout outs that have come in. Nope, nothing else coming in. All right, let's do a quick look here at ours. Turn that siren off here. All right. I'm sure my neighbors are like, what the hell is that flashing red light from Van Horn House all about? All right, let's do our shout outs. And so this is what we have from September 1st of 23 to now, right? For our DX season. Again, DX season so far is not over. We're not done with AMDX. We're just not going to live stream right now. Let's start off with the fact that we've gotten 228 stations new this year. I'm only 70 away from 1,000. Knocking on the door there. Stations were heard from 29 different states, including new ones from the state of Washington and South Dakota. Both of those were new states for us this year. Hadn't heard either of those before. So let's go ahead and start off with the logs. 228 logs. It's medium wave list, Carl. That's where you want to go, man. Medium wave list. Frequency by frequency. Non-English US. Oh, non-English US and Canada's. Oh, I got what you're saying now. You can filter medium wave list by language. I'll show you that here in a minute. I'll show you what I mean by that. 228 stations logged. 29 different states, including Washington and South Dakota for new ones. There we go. Did really have a great year on the countryside. New countries this year logged: Algeria, Argentina, and Haiti. New countries, all three of them. 12 different countries heard this year so far. 12 different ones. And 3 of those were new. Broke our mileage. I don't know why that just sounded all loud. Broke our mileage record this year with Algeria at 5,100 miles, 5,151 miles, and 4,949 from Argentina. So got those in there. New Canadian provinces. Heard for the very first time. 2 different Canadian provinces. 2 this year were new. Heard 4 different ones, 5 Canadian logs altogether. New ones from British Columbia and Manitoba for new Canadian provinces. So we, one more time, break loose the moose. Our final moose of the season. 32 stations from Mexico were heard this year. 16 different Mexican states, including several brand new Mexican states for me here. But the number one out of all of those was Baja California North. So NPR strong on 1550 now, says Mexico Mike J. So we're gonna hit refresh on our Kiwi here and see what's what. Not a peep. Yeah, I'm not hearing them. It's about 20 degrees off of them. Yeah, no sign of him here, man. That's about what I usually have, is a couple different Spanish stations duking it out. So, let's see what else. I know we had some Wisconsin and some Louisiana logs here this season as well. We had 2 new ones from Wisconsin and 2 new ones from Louisiana. So let's go ahead and cut the cheese. And one more dose and helping of gumbo for the season for us here. A little jambalaya, a little gumbo. With 2 new ones from Louisiana. We haven't quite heard all of the Louisiana stations yet here, but we're getting close. That's the AM side, though. Real quick, let me do... Where's my pivot table for the... Pivot table. There it is, right? That's the one, yeah. All right, so let me do... Looking at my FM log here. And... Come on. So let's do a little look here. This isn't going to be not as in-depth. But so far, this is just so far for 2024, since January 1st on the FM side of things. 42 new Tropo logs, including a new, we did get Yucatan for a new Mexican state. 28 new sporadic E. That was that little opening we had into like Mexico and New Mexico and Colorado back in January. 28 sporadic E logs and 1 meteor scatter. So 71 new ones so far just in 2024. I always reset my log. My FM log starts January 1. My AM log starts September 1. So there you go. Yeah, 71 new logs so far in 2024, and 28 of those already sporadic E thanks to that January opening that we had. So I'll go ahead and do one of these. All right. One more plug for the Slack channel. No, Rick's over here doing some deal closing right now, getting some folks in there. So if you haven't yet emailed Rick and wanted to get here into the Slack channel, you do have a chance to do so. Just email him directly. Once again, his email address is, what was it, drummer1965us? Did I have that backwards? Trying to scroll back up. Yeah, drummer1965us@hotmail.com. That's where you want to send your email to if you want to be part of the Slack channel. AMDX, FMDX. We have Weather DX channel in there if you want to do weather, NOAA, weather radio stations. That's in there as well. So just shoot that email over to Rick and we'll get you in the Slack channel to be part of the fun. There was a question Carl had. I know Carl's leaving. But if you watch the replay, Carl had a question that I wanted to touch on here as well. Where was it? oh yeah, the frequency by frequency guide of non-English U.S. stations. Let's look at this really quick. I'll show you how this can actually be done within medium wave list. Okay, so Carl, if you're watching this after the fact, I know you're leaving, but if you watch this after the fact, here is your walkthrough. So you go to medium wave list, okay, and let's just say you're on a frequency. Let's say I'm on 1550, where I had a couple stations duking it out earlier. Okay. You can actually go in now. It's not going to be 100%. Okay. But it may help. May help. So I'm here in the My AM tab here on 1550 in medium wave list. And you'll see this column right here that says language, or it says LA rather. That is a program language. So you can sort that column. And this also works in FM list, by the way. Same thing. So if you sort by that column, and I have to usually hit it twice to get to the meat of it. Maybe not. So if I scroll down, all the stuff that's blank, there's usually, those are going to be usually AM. But you'll see some of these, like here's this one here in Utah, La Picostia. That's probably Spanish, but doesn't say Spanish. So it's not going to be 100%, but it's definitely going to help at least. There's a Radio Vita that doesn't have a Spanish ES. But any ones that you see that say ES next to it, those are Spanish. Now, most of those are going to be outside of the US, I think. But I have seen, like, here's one, KWRN in California. It says ES next to it. WRHC in Florida, there's ES right there. So there will be some US stuff in there. It's just not as, there's WAMA in Florida, it says ES. So yeah, that can help you. Just look for that little language column here in medium wave list, and you can kind of sort by that or whatever to see, get an idea to kind of narrow it down. And if you are hearing a station and you've confirmed the station you're hearing and they are in Spanish and it's not listed here, you can always click on the little exclamation point right here to notify, and you can tell them. You can fill out a little form here to tell them, hey, that's a station that broadcasts in Spanish. So you can actually help improve the data if it doesn't have it listed. So something that we can all do together. Yay. All right. And I think the last things we have left. So immediately after this gets done, and need a good video on how to use medium wave list and FM list, go to the Summer of DX page. There is a video there on using medium wave list. There's already a video up on our channel for FM list. We already have that. But there's a video that's on the Summer of DX page on medium wave list on how to create an account, how to set your location, and how to log stations. And I think a couple other things we talk about in there as well. So definitely go to the Summer DX page. There's a video there for getting distances from medium wave list and logging to. That's the one you want to look at that walks into it. And then if you want the FM list, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same process. But if you search our YouTube channel here for FM list, you'll see quite a few options of stuff we've talked about over the years. And so there are several videos on how to use FM list for that as well. All right. I think that is it for us tonight. Real quick, when we wrap up tonight, when we get this done, I'll be updating a couple things on the website. And then we begin the process of tearing down North Shore Studios. Everything's got to come out. So everything in here is leaving. And we're bringing new stuff in. Not all new stuff. We're not replacing everything. We're going to bring all of it back, but we're also going to put new lights in, soundproofing, all kinds of stuff. So when you see us in the fall, we'll be unveiling our new shack, our new studios here. We'll have a video to go with that as well. I'm going to shoot video while we do this entire process. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So that's it, my friends. Season 4 is in the books. From all of us here at DX Central, for our street team, for our moderators in the chat, for our folks who participate in the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge, for our folks who join us week in, week out, or every once in a while, whatever it is. If you've been here once on our live stream, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you so much, and we'll see you in the Slack channels. But we'll be back here on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter and Facebook in the fall again for Season 5 of DX Central Live. Stay safe, my friends. Best of DX 73. And we'll see you next time down the line. Don't forget, Summer of DX Challenge. Get in there. Go, get it done. AMDX. Don't forget.
This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.